What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Corruption back again. Now this time with the Call of Duty Ghosts video that I had said in the last video I'd uploaded, that the pros and cons of Call of Duty Ghosts. And I've kind of bit my time on this video. I meant to do something, day one launch of Call of Duty Ghosts, and I kept holding off, because I just didn't feel quite right about some of the opinions I had to begin with. And to begin with, when I originally picked up the game and started playing it, I absolutely hated it. It was just garbage. Nothing seemed remotely Call of Duty. This was more like an attempt to be more Battlefield than anything, it seemed to me. So I gave it some time. I figured, hell, I'll give it a few weeks. And I play it here and there. I don't play it as much as I had played, like Modern Warfare 3 or Modern Warfare 2 at the times. But I kind of gave it the chance that I could. And I watched a few other YouTubers, and I had just seen earlier this evening, well, actually yesterday to most people, but Fear Moho had posted a video, and he was discussing about different perks on how to get around the maps, because I felt that the maps were one of the biggest downfalls within this game. And I've been going through and doing a lot more marathon agility classes, and I'm getting around quite a bit. But one of the biggest things that the game has in multiplayer wise, and this is all going from basically a competitive multiplayer standpoint. I haven't really done much for the single player. I did play the single player, but I'm not going to voice much on it. Extinction's fun. I actually like Extinction. Squads I've only dabbled in here and there. So I'm just really going by on the multiplayer in a competitive form, like what I've been used to. So one of the biggest downfalls with this new iteration within the Call of Duty franchise has been the map size. And I'm not real hard on the actual size of the maps. Yeah, they're kind of large, but really, as many people will tell you, that once you got agility and marathon, they're not too hard to actually get around. My biggest complaint with the maps are more in the map design, less so than the map size. I've gone through, and on top of my head, like Modern Warfare 3, I think Bootleg was one of my most favorite one of my favorite maps. When it came to like Modern Warfare 2, most everybody loved Terminal at the time, but I didn't care much for it in Modern Warfare 3. And in 2, it was a fairly decent sized map, but you did have Marathon and Lightweight to get around a lot easier than you did in Modern Warfare 3. Which didn't really have Marathon, as it just had extended sprint, which didn't really help lend itself too well on getting around the map as you would have hoped. There was just something different about it after you had gone with Marathon to just the extended sprint or extended stamina. I can't even what the hell it's called now off the top of my head. But it was a decent map, and it was really well put together. And there were a lot of lanes and angles. But the map design with Call of Duty Ghosts is that there's a lot of verticality to it. And this verticality is not necessarily a good thing, because now you've got too much looking up and down as you are trying to check your corners. And there are a lot of corners because there's a lot of debris or rubble in a lot of maps, or some maps have hardly anything, and it's just one long, wide open shot for snipers. So when you hear a lot of people saying that there's a lot of camping in the game, it's due to the fact that it's more catered to that kind of playstyle. It's the slow and cautious are going to do a little bit better than most of the objective players, simply because of the fact that they are going to camp out. They are going to sit and wait for somebody to come running by with their sniper rifles or the marksman rifles or even the ARs. Submachine guns felt crippled to begin with during the launch. I'm starting to have a lot more fun with it now that things are starting to settle down, and a lot more people are starting to get used to things. And like I said, once I started using Marathon Agility and I believe Ready Up, and I can't recall what the other one is, Quick Draw. Once I've started using those, I've been having a lot better time with my class setups and my usual playstyle. But the next downfall for it really came in with the sound. And a lot of people love the sound because the sound is actually great. but the footsteps having sounded now like a horde of elephants running through a room, giving your location away at any chance unless you use dead silence, which now also has the perk amplified to counter dead silence, so you can still hear even people with dead silence. It basically just turns into one big, if you have headsets, prepare to do godlike. I don't know how many times the headsets have actually saved my ass, and I know the headsets have saved a lot of people's asses because they wouldn't have known I was back there otherwise. And it's kind of odd because the next downfall I'm going to point out was the perks. The, what is it, like 35 perks that they've included in the game. It's a ridiculous amount. And they tried to go with like the point system that Black Ops 2 kind of went with, only it's more like a half-assed version. And it would be okay if they went with the normal perk system and not have split up like one perk into 3 different categories in some instances. I was actually always a big fan of perks with pro ability, the pro perks. In the original Black Ops, it was actually a welcome change with their perk system on having different challenges being met to actually get the pro unlock. Because a lot of the pro unlocks could be a little bit annoying early on, but not many people would actually have the pro unlocks because some of the challenges were rather difficult to get. Like the TAC Mask Pro, I believe you had to get like 20 assists with each kind of grenade, or at least 3 of them. And it was it was kind of a challenging little issue there. And the Flak Jacket had the pro perk of basically giving you the invulnerability to fire, so the napalm strike, if you got into the actual flame, you'd be immune to the napalm. But you didn't see too many people that had it because for some reason prestiging is like the biggest thing in the world for Call of Duty players. I've never understood why it is, but it is. So once they prestiged, they'd lost all their little upgrades on their pro perks, and it just kind of went from there. And then from the 2 mini perks, you then had a lot more equipment in too, especially the explosive equipment. With the explosive equipment, since Ghosts have implemented like the IED and such, it's kind of brought back that annoying gameplay element that we've seen in Black Ops, probably the most dominant. It was there in Modern Warfare 2 quite a bit too, but with the explosive issue in Modern Warfare 2, it was the quote-unquote noob tube and danger close setup. And danger close is back again, I've seen in Ghosts. So now equaling that with, I believe it's the IEDs or whatever, you just throw them out there and they become like a 360 claymore basically. And the thing gets kind of annoying when you're trying to do your objectives and you've got like 20 of these scattered around because everybody and their mother has these IEDs set up. And I not one to waste my perks on trying to counter an explosive unless, you know, it really benefits me in my playstyle. And Modern Warfare 3, I probably will tote as probably my most favorite Call of Duty game, simply because of the fact I thought the perks were really well balanced, and they actually did a really good balancing with the explosive gameplay too, because even though you had claymores and the bouncing betties and the IMS systems, there was one perk that made this game amazing for people to not have to worry so much about these, and that was Stalker Pro. Stalker Pro allowed you to delay the trip activation. So the explosive would still work, but if you were running and you were an objective player, 9 times out of 10 you ran right past the explosive and never had to worry about it. Some people who would play cautiously would have Stalker Pro on, and they would trip them, and if they didn't hear it, they would still be standing there and still get exploded on. It's happened once or twice to me before. I was in a rough situation, and it was, well, can I avoid the explosion, or do I stand here and hope that things will work out? Yeah, they don't work out as well. But next, there was the lack of the competitive scene. There just was nothing really there to cater for them guys, as there had been. That was the only thing I really praised about Black Ops 2, and yeah, I'll give Treyarch their due here, that yes, they do a lot for the competitive scene. And even though I didn't have hopes of having a competitive playlist or the league play, I did kind of I was really surprised not to see theater mode, at least here in the 360 and PS3 versions. I've heard rumors that in the next-gen title, or next-gen consoles, PS4 and Xbox One, that theater mode will be back, but I was really surprised that the game shipped without theater mode, and it was kind of lackluster. It was something about the game right now, for the current gen, or actually now I should say the old generation, appeared to be just half-assed. It really didn't cater a lot to the competitive scene. There's not a whole lot there for them, and combined with the poor maps designed, it really makes for a slow and boring competitive scene. And I know for the most part right now that it's not too horrible, because it's still new and we're still trying to figure out what type of different perks and balances that we're going to allow within the competitive rule sets and MLG, UMG, and all the others. But even with the different rule sets being in place, it still kind of seems just a little off. If anybody had seen any of the newest MLG content that came out and tried watching the pro scene, or however you want to go about it, the players play, it was really a slow-paced and methodical gameplay, which is great because you're trying to win, but when you're trying to make this a spectator sport, it really falls short. The announcer really tried his best to make things happen, just make the overall gameplay interesting, but when there's not a lot going on, there's not a lot to commentate on. And you really would get bored watching the video, even more so than probably just watching a video like mine where I talk over some gameplay. It was disappointing, to say the least, to actually go from enjoying some of the Black Ops 2 pro scene, even though I didn't care much for Black Ops 2, it was still fun to watch, to Call of Duty Ghosts, where I really don't even want to watch it. I'm having a hard time playing it, let alone watch it. It's just not working out. And the pacing of the game is really more a community fault right now than it is the actual gameplays. But the gameplay elements are not helping the matter with a more camper-friendly style, if that makes any sense. Because a lot of the tools are there for us rushers, and we can make things happen with it, but it's a little bit disheartening to go and try and make a big play just to be shut down by somebody sitting in the back of the map with a sniper rifle that's got an IED planted up somewhere, and the spawn system just kind of screws you over again. I'm not even sure exactly how the spawn system works. I had thought originally that it was the revenge spawn system that was in Modern Warfare 3, and I was never really that infuriated with the revenge spawn system, but I believe I'd heard that this goes more off of a teammate-based spawn system. So if you have certain teammates in one area, then you're likely to spawn more so next to your teammates. Well, if your teammates are all rushing near your enemy and you're starting to respawn right next to your enemy again, I have had times where I have literally respawned just to get killed, as if I had been using the tac insert and spawned back into a person waiting right on top of it. It was ridiculous, but that's just something that I'm going to have to see if they'll kind of do a little hot patch or something to fix the issue of at least spawning too close to an enemy within too quick of a time period. And then one of the last things about the cons in Call of Duty Ghosts is that there are game modes that are missing that really didn't make any sense. They're like staples to Call of Duty, and that were Capture the Flag, most obviously. Capture the Flag had been around for quite a while. I mean, I don't recall it being in the original Modern Warfare, but after that, Capture the Flag really became a staple. In Modern Warfare 2, it was a really big deal. And then, something that was even around even in the original Modern Warfare and has been around in all of the Call of Duties up until recently, is Ground War. With these maps as big as they are, they can easily accommodate a Ground War setting, and a lot of these larger maps might actually become fun to play, but there's no Ground War. What the hell happened to Ground War? Infinity Ward and Neversoft? But it was crazy and mind-boggling to me that Ground War has been done away with, and hopefully they put it back in, because they did listen to the community on Search and Destroy, which I could have done without, but whatever. So maybe we'll see Ground War again. I don't know. And this one, I wasn't too surprised to see it not there, but I was kind of also surprised that they didn't try to put it in. And that was Hardpoint. Black Ops 2 brought in Hardpoint, and I wasn't a big fan of Hardpoint, but it did make for an interesting MLG concept, and it was a really good game type to watch spectator-wise. I really enjoyed it, and I was surprised not to see it again in Ghost. But I think I'll wrap it up for now on this video for the cons. Next one will be the pros of what I do actually enjoy of Call of Duty Ghost. So, YouTube, catch you guys later.